I had a chance to sit down with the one and only Pastor John Hagee and CUFI Action Fund Chairwoman Sandra Hagee Parker to talk about our upcoming CUFI Washington Summit and why you need to come and join us here in Washington, D.C. The dates are July 7th, 8th, and 9th, and as Pastor Hagee and Sandy lay out, the stakes could not be higher for Israel, for America, and for the church. Take a look. Well, Pastor Sandy, great to have you back with us here on The Watchman Show.
We're delighted to be with you, Eric.
Yeah, and what an important time to have you here in Washington, D.C. We've seen a horrific anti-Semitic attack in San Diego, a deadly attack recently. Pittsburgh just a few months ago. Even the New York Times with these openly anti-Semitic cartoons. Pastor, we have a serious problem here.
We have a very serious problem in America. All Christians need to recognize that anti-Semitism is sin, and as sin, it damns the soul. Jesus said, "Inasmuch as you've done it unto the least of these, my brethren," speaking of the Jewish people, my brethren, "you've done it unto me." We have in America right now anti-Semitism in the church with replacement theology. Replacement theology is that the church has taken the place of Israel in the economy of God. That's a false doctrine. It's plainly wrong. We have anti-Semitism in our universities, with college and university professors brainwashing our children against the Jewish people.
Right here on Capitol Hill, I think of Ilan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, these freshman members of Congress.
Anti-Semitism is not a Jewish problem. It's everybody's problem.
That's what we do here at Christians United for Israel, Sandy. What are we doing right now? And talk about God's timing with our Shine the Light initiative. How are we fighting back against anti-Semitism? And how can people at home join us and help us?
Israel is a light unto the nations. We are a light unto the world. The Bible is very clear. The only way to conquer darkness is to shine the light. You don't groan the darkness, you turn up the light. And that's what we're going to do. We are going to shine a light on anti-Semitism wherever it may be found in all of its forms. If it's on the campus through BDS, if it's in government through retweeting of tropes or bad policy, if it's in our newspapers and these cartoons, we will not keep silent. We are going to mobilize. We are going to take action. We're not going to let it slide.
The anti-Semites are scurrying out from under their rocks right now. They're being very public about it. Thankfully, our government right now, the current administration, has been a great and staunch friend and ally of Israel and the Jewish people. We recently had President Trump announcing that he recognized, that the U.S. recognized Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights.
Absolutely.
Just the latest of just a litany, a great litany of pro-Israel legislation and announcements from this administration. Talk about how the U.S.-Israel relationship has never been stronger than it is right now.
It's never been this strong in the history of the United States of America. You take the historical fact that Harry Truman recognized the existence of the State of Israel in 11 minutes after they declared statehood.
1948.
And since that act, presidents have promised to move the embassy. They've promised, and failed. Donald Trump came to office making promises, and he kept those promises. He has moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. We weren't giving the Jewish people special treatment. We have put our embassy in nations that are run by thugs and despots. We put our embassy there now to honor Israel because they are truly our friend. We are giving them the equal recognition. It wasn't something special. And now he has given the Golan Heights the prerogative of being called the sovereign property of Israel.
Pastor, such a strategic region there, the Golan. Whoever has that has the high ground in any future conflict between Israel and its enemies.
Because we have Iran and Russia and Hamas and Hezbollah in the mix at one time, and they have the capacity of shooting rockets for many miles away, now the world can know that the moment a rocket pierces the sovereign land of Israel, which is in the Golan Heights, the war is on. And America is now clearly standing side by side with Israel. And whenever the president made that declaration, the nations of the world set up and said, The price of attacking Israel just went sky high.
We're approaching anti-Semitism on two tracks here at CUFI. Shine the light, I would say more at the grassroots, you would say, but also right here in Washington, D.C., where it matters with legislation. Tell us about the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act, which you have testified about right here on Capitol Hill, why it's so important, and what we are doing here at CUFI to help spearhead it.
Yes. The Anti-Semitism Awareness Act is very simple. It's basically a law that will be adopted and applied to the Department of Education that says if a student on a campus in the United States of America experiences harassment, which, Eric, as you know, every report that comes out shows these anti-Semitic incidents on schools are growing by the year. The trajectory just continues to rise. Do you know how many incidences of anti-Semitism under this particular article in the Department of Education in the Civil Rights Act? How many have been prosecuted?
I don't think I want to know.
Zero.
Zero.
There have been zero.
feeling.
This law says if somebody is harassed, then you can consider the State Department's definition of anti-Semitism, which is what we use to measure anti-Semitism globally. You can look at that definition, apply it, and say, well, was this just harassment, or was this harassment because they were Jewish? That's it. This is not controversial. This is very easy. It says if you're not prosecuting these cases, you either don't know what anti-Semitism is, or you're ignoring it.
Coming up, learn how CUFI is making a difference for Israel and America in Washington, D.C., and how you can help. Don't move.